Good evening to everyone. Tonight we had a scheduled Finance Committee meeting to talk with the fire chief about the capital items that were in the budget. Unfortunately, we do not have a quorum. We had some last-minute cancellations, so we're not having a meeting, but we figured we'd at least still have the informational session to get give him the opportunity to speak about his items. And then I have a couple things I'll go over, but this should be pretty quick. So we'll turn it over to the chief.
So we're going over capital as well?
Oh, I'm sorry, actually, not the capital. The capital are
Just the
fine.
finance part?
Go
Okay.
over the finance ones, yes, I'm
So
sorry.
Article 8, well, what will be Article 8, I guess, is a request for $47,000. This is due to contractual changes that occurred. Firefighters were in negotiation with the town prior to the approval of this budget, of the current budget, and these changes reflect changes in their contract, which obviously put an increased burden on the budget itself. So $22,000 is for stipends. Those are EMT stipends. If stipends for the firefighters increased by $1,000 per person for the EMT or paramedic certification, and $25,000 increase for callback. In the past, there used to be a 2-hour minimum on callbacks, and now it's gone from 2 hours to 3 hours during the day and a 4-hour minimum at night. So doing a quick analysis, it looked like I was going to be short about $25,000, possibly more, possibly less. Callback's one of those things, it's very hard to, you can't have a pinpoint number. Kind of depends on the weather events like we're having now. So that's that. The other article, Article 9, I believe I emailed members of the committee a few months ago. And that article is for $27,078, and that's to cover the overtime costs for 2 firefighters who have attended or are currently attending the Massachusetts State Firefighting Academy. And what that does is that covers their day shifts with overtime and 5 hours of their night shift from 5:30 at night till 10:30 at night. And then from 10:30 at night till 7:30 in the morning, the shift drops down to 4. That's it in a nutshell.
David's here, so he's gonna have a lot of the questions on these, but,
I mean, I think the question that came up last time, Chief, and the only reason that these two were kind of left in a little bit of limbo was just whether, if these are current fiscal year expenses, that why are we doing them now?
I understand. So Article 9 was unforeseen. Article 9, I had, this would be last fiscal year that I was fully staffed and everyone was going to the academy in last fiscal year. But I had one firefighter that went to the academy for a day or two and decided this career was no longer for him. So he left he waited until I found someone else and I hired somebody else. But you can't just go to the fire academy the next day. You have to wait months. That, I didn't budget for either of these two because I didn't foresee having to send anybody to the Mass Fire Academy because I was fully staffed and everybody would have either gone to the academy or for this year, for the one that was supposed to go, my day officer was going to go to that shift for the 10 weeks. But I had to put him on that shift anyways because I have another firefighter who's out on OJI, so it kind of made me.
So we don't think that
Backwards.
that anywhere along the way that there would be other savings in budget that could be applied on these particular items over the course of the year.
No.
Okay.
Because right now, I'm trying everything I can to do man-for-man coverage because we're just that busy. In fact, when I think you posed a question to me last year, the year before, about, we were talking about, maybe it was last year, for the actual budget presentation, when I said we wanted to increase staffing, or you had said, at what point do we increase the staffing? And I had said, well, if I increase staffing, I need to increase overtime. Well, I'll be coming to you this year to increase the staffing, but cutting overtime. So, fair warning. I applied for a grant, SAFER grant, for 4 firefighters. I didn't get it this year. I'm not surprised because of COVID. A lot of the grants went out to retaining people rather than hiring new. So we were hiring new, so we were left out of that loop. I'm going to reapply for that grant in December as well, but I have no idea whether or not we'll get that before town meeting comes. But right now, I have a lot of shifts that are being forced, meaning mandatory, you have to work. Because either the firefighters are overworked, overstressed, or whatever from the pandemic that we've been through, and are currently still going through, or I'm not sure what the problem is. I've been trying to think about this, and the best solution I can come up with is, when I started coming up in the fire department, all the people that I worked with, it was a one-income family. They were all guys. They're all married. Their wives are home, raising the kids. That obviously is not the case anymore. Most families, it's a 2-income family. Kids are in childcare, whatever. So that creates issues as well when they can't work because they're doing childcare, but then they're forced to, it's a mess. So I think the way to combat this is to hire additional firefighter for every shift. Well, they only need 3, because I already have the day off, so that's gonna be put on a shift. So hire 3 additional firefighters, and then we'll just drop to 5. It'll alleviate a lot of these mandatory overtimes that are happening, hopefully. But with that obviously comes a cost. Article 8, I can't answer for Article 8 as far as, when I made the budget, because I had no idea that, this is a contractual negotiations. I had no idea that this was gonna happen. It's just something that, through negotiation, this is what occurred. And
Well, and did you and I talk about too at one point, correct me if I'm mistaken, ambulance revenues are down significantly as well.
ambulance revenues were down $310,000 over the last, since COVID began. So 18 to 20 months, they're down 310,000. They're slowly coming back up to where they should be, because I had forecasted they'd be at between 1 to 1.1 million. So when we got money that was sent to us from the United States government back in, I think it was April, we got 18,000 some change. That we didn't ask for, it just showed up one day and said, sign a letter of attestation that you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do with it. So we did it. And then I on the backside was you had to fill out a 52-page form and what you did with that money and everything else. But it was, at first I was like, oh, come on. But in a way it was good, because it actually took all the revenues that we made and all that, what we were supposed to make, and looked at a multi-year look back, and it actually showed and proved that, yeah, we're $310,000 short from where we should have been. So the ambulance account should have $310,000 more in it than it does now. So I've had some cycles, some billing cycles, and they go by month, where it's been as low as, like the 40s. And I think the last one was 99,000. So 99,000 is good. If we can maintain 99,000, which we won't, that would be really helpful. That would be about 1.2 million. But I don't even know what I'm forecasting this year right now for ambulance revenue, because it's just so up and down right now.
But sometimes in the past, you'd be able to go to that fund.
I would.
Right, as opposed to.
So I had told
right.
Jim Purcell, the former interim town administrator, that I could take that money from the ambulance account right now. We could do it. I'm comfortable enough that we could do that. And he didn't want to, and he said it'd raise and appropriate, so that's not me. That's up to you, how the board wants to deal with that. I don't care either way.
Okay.
Because the only thing I have to do with the ambulance account next year is, offset the salaries, that's about $715,000. Do a payment number 2 on the tower truck.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you see
Yep.
any issue with
No,
that?
I don't.
Okay.
And then I will need to get a new ambulance. But if I have to put that off a year, I can. But there's also ARPA money available, possibly. So the way the ARPA money works, from what I understand, is the town would have to see an overall decrease in revenue for the fiscal year compared to what they budgeted or what they predicted or whatever. It has to be a decrease in revenue. And so whatever that decrease is, whether it's 100,000 or whatever, that's the money you could use towards that type of purchase. I was under the impression at first I could use the whole 310, because that's what I was short, but it's not me, it's town-wide, the whole town-wide budget. I don't know if we were short or not. It's up to the accountant and treasurer to figure that out, but,
Right.
I mean, that's a possibility as well. And, you know, I know we're getting another payment on that, but sometime, I think already got 700,000, there's supposed to be another 7 coming. But that was my plan at first, it's like, oh, I can use that, and Jim Purcell was in agreement on that, but the Plymouth County Treasurer, Tom O'Brien, said, no, it's not one department, it's the entire town as a whole. Like, you might have lost revenue in ambulance, but you might have gained revenue in, you know, building permits or whatever, it's off. So I really don't know where it stands. Hopefully by the time we meet again for the budget season, we'll have a much better picture.
I hope so.
I'm sure we will, so.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief?
Nope.
Okay. We can't make any votes tonight
I
anyway,
understand.
so yeah, so we'll do the next. Then just two additional, just informational things, questions we had from last time was on Article 1. So this was actually allocated from the Finance Committee Reserve Fund in the previous fiscal year to be used for the town administrator search, to pay the consultant. It was used to pay ongoing litigation that the town's involved in. I don't know if it was, so they need to pay the town administrator search committee. We can ask additional questions if we want about the process and procedure around how that money was taken from the finance committee reserve fund, but used for something else. But that's right now the explanation that I have. So we'll dig a little bit more into that. The other one was on Article 3, which was for the town to rescind the borrowing that was tied to the, this was the central school boiler replacement project. So because they went through the MSBA for that project, the MSBA requires them to borrow the full amount as estimated before they go out and solidify any type of contracts. The original estimate from the schematic design came in at 1.54 million. After they went out to bid, the number came in significantly lower. So the MSBA requires that they vote to borrow that full, the full amount tied to the schematic design. And so they said the same thing is happening with the roof project at the central school, so they'll be coming back to us again with a rescission of borrowing. And it's being tied to, that's the way that the MSBA program is built or required when you apply for the reimbursement from the state. I can't say that I'm an expert in the MSBA program, but I know I talked with Melanie and she felt completely fine with that explanation, the town accountant, so.
And then didn't we have a question on the chief's yacht in Article 6 that he's put in for?
Yeah,
Only teasing.
it's all right. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure, well, always willing to learn.
So we have a 1960 V-hull aluminum boat that we use for water and ice rescues, well, mainly water rescues. Kind of how to use it on the ice. And we have a hovercraft. Well, let's just talk water rescues first. So the V-hull boat goes on a water rescue. And one of the reasons why I'm looking for money in Article 9 is because I had a guy trying to do a water rescue and pulling someone over the side of this boat and onto the boat, and he popped his elbow. So he's been out for 8 months. So it's actually cost me more to pay him not to come to work than it would be to
do that.
cover the cost of this article. So what this article will do is it'll replace both of those boats. The hovercraft is pretty much a hole in the water you throw money into, because every time it goes out, something has to be repaired on it. It's got a Rotex motor, one of those like high-performance go-kart motors. So every time they use it, one of those race car motors, they ended up breaking the thing down after every race and rebuilding it. We didn't know that in 2008. Anyways, so it's going to replace both of those. They'll both go to auction. It'll replace the V-hull with a flat bottom aluminum boat that has a dive platform that goes off the front. So now
Now
you
you
just
have to-
pull
yeah,
them onto
yeah.
the, whether it's a live body or it's a, you know, a water recovery, you know, body, excuse me, a live person or a body, it's gonna be so much easier. And it's also gonna, a rigid hull inflatable boat, and both of these are on a, one trailer. So we're bringing both assets at once on one trailer unit. And that trailer unit also will be able to take our ice rescue sled. So now, any water or ice rescue event we have in this town, we'll be able to bring every water asset we have on one trailer with one truck towing it with one person. Because if we have to go back and get another trailer, I need another guy or another firefighter. And obviously, you know, sometimes manpower can be light when, in events like this. So that's my reasoning for doing this. The boat that, the aluminum boat they're looking to get, the Advanced Rescue Boat X3, it's designed for this purpose. And they work really well. I've been on some dive recoveries with the Plymouth County Tech Rescue Team, and a lot of the departments have these boats, and they're really slick. I think it'll be a great asset for the town. Sure. And hopefully reduce the likelihood of injury to the rescuers as well.
I work for the town of Norton. We just, that fire department just got one of those,
Yeah,
got
did they?
approved for one of those,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's they're expensive, but, you know, look at the 1960 boat we have, we're gonna get many, many, many years out of it. I'll be long gone before this boat needs to be replaced. But it's long overdue. It's been on my list, but having that water rescue and seeing what occurred and the injury that happened, then it just brought it to fruition that this had it was time, so.
Good on the scale of efficiencies, for sure, you know, it's a definite
Also,
positive.
just so you know, I won't be at town meeting unfortunately this year. I'll be on vacation out of country. I didn't think the week of Thanksgiving would be a bad week to go, but apparently somebody thought it'd be a good time to have a town meeting.
Town
So
meeting, yeah.
my deputy
Go
chief
figure.
will be presenting these articles, if they're not presented by the finance or capital committees, just so we know.
Okay. And Article 7, I think we talked, did anyone have any questions on that while he's here? Maybe just quick, like a
Oh,
2
so-
minute.
What a plane moving
So-
vehicle
so artic-
exhaust removal system is, but other
So
than
Article
that-
7, so we have an exhaust removal system at the fire station, meaning every truck's hooked up to a pipe.
Yeah.
That, when you start the vehicle, it senses the pressure, it starts a compressor or a fan, and it sucks that air out and it puts it to the outside. It's designed to obviously reduce the risk of cancer. Back in, you know, the early days, when I was on years ago, you'd start a truck and you'd smell diesel throughout the station, so who knows what it's done to my body, but whatever. You don't smell that anymore. So the system we currently have, I forget, do you remember what I said 2 weeks ago, how old it is? It was either installed in '04 or '08. I want to think '04. It was done through a grant, but it's a pneumatic system, so you need to have compressed air to fill the boots that squeeze around the exhaust pipe. The other system I want to get gets rid of all that. There's no need to have compressed air anymore. It's a magnetic system. The truck pulls out, it hits a certain switch and it just breaks away the connection. And then it comes in, it just sticks on. So they're gonna replace the tailpipe adapters, the hose that leads from the truck all the way to, there's like a sheet metal tubing that goes throughout the station, the apparatus floor. So all that's gonna be replaced. And they're furnishing us with 9 tailpipe adapters for the different, vehicles, apparatus that we have. So it's actually gonna cut down on my yearly contractual maintenance or whatever that I have to do. Like, I stopped doing it last year. It was like $1,400 and something a year for this contract. And it's not worth it anymore. So with this system, I won't have to have these air leaks and with these rubber boots that tend to break and, get pinholes and have to be replaced at $300 to $500 a piece, so.
Yeah, you had mentioned that in the capital meeting, that
Yeah,
there's a lot of,
it's just expensive to,
right, to maintain.
for no reason. It's like there's no reason to throw that money away.
No, it's, again, good investments, so. for sure.
I agree. Okay, so we're good on that. We answered the two other questions. I'll,
Yep.
get a little bit more on Article 1, because we'll have to meet again to go back through the articles that we, needed to, revisit. And then just as an update, the town administrator contract was signed the evening of our last meeting, so his start date is November, he's starting at the day of town meeting.
Oh, really?
So he'll be, yeah, November 22nd is his first day, so,
Baptism by fire.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
He's not new to it, so.
Right.
right, yeah, plenty of experience. 26 years in Halifax.
That's amazing.
So, any other questions? So nothing we can vote on or anything tonight, so we can get home and take shelter from the storm, I suppose. You're good? Okay.
I'm good. I learned more tonight than I thought I would.
Okay,
About fire equipment.
All
That's
right.
good thing.
so we can't vote to adjourn because we're not in a meeting, so we are good. Have a good evening.
Great, thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you, Chief.
Good to see you.